I'm Jonah Larkin, and in this video, I'm going to give you 5 simple steps to create a winning morning routine. And don't worry, there's no reason to take notes here. I've included a link below this video to several downloadable resources and a cheat sheet that covers everything that I'm going to teach you here. Now, if you're anything like me, there's a chance you might have struggled to build a morning routine that you can actually stick to on a regular and consistent basis. And this is something that I've seen over and over with the hundreds of people I've taught about how to build new habits. And I personally have made all the mistakes, and I've seen all of my students make all the mistakes. Now, the key beyond anything, more than simply following the steps that I am going to present to you, is to understand that there are fundamentals of habit creation. And someone like Elon Musk calls these first principles. And a first principle is a basic proposition or assumption that cannot be deduced or made smaller, and which you can build on and expand on top of. So it's very important. But before I get into that, I want to touch briefly on why a morning routine can be so incredibly helpful and why some of the most successful people in the world, from Oprah Winfrey to Barack Obama to Elon Musk, all utilize it. You see, whether you know it or not, your life is built on routines, rituals, and rhythms, many of which you aren't even aware of because they are not conscious. You don't have to think about brushing your teeth or the way you drink your coffee. You just do it. And this actually makes sense, because think about how confusing it would be if you had to constantly think about, how do I brush my teeth? How do I drink my coffee? How do I pull my car out of the garage? It just wouldn't work. And then I also like to use the word rhythm as opposed to routine. We all have different rhythms, routines, rituals for different situations, and I like to keep things interesting. I don't always like to do the same thing for the same amount of time, day after day after day after day after day. But the reason that these rituals can be so darn helpful is because it can create a situation where you're deciding what you're going to do before you're going to do it. And so you're exercising your free will to do what's good for you. And so right off the bat, you start your day off with a win, and you create some success. You get that feeling of accomplishment. Your brain gets flooded with all the feel-good neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, which are super powerful and help you stay focused and get things done throughout the day. So what then should be in your morning rhythm? Now, in the short term, it's about getting to a point where you feel good, where you're waking up, you're feeling motivated, you're feeling well-resourced, both internally and externally, and you're ready to focus on what's in front of you. I mean, imagine if you started your day like that every morning, instead of hitting the snooze button a dozen times, getting lost in social media, stumbling to your coffee, and blowing off or delaying the most important things, like eating well or exercising or moving your body or connecting with loved ones, or really making progress on that big project. But in the long term, it's really much more than that. I mean, I like to think of the morning rhythm a little bit like a sailboat, because on a sailboat, you have an anchor that keeps you safe in safe harbor. You have a sail that propels you forward, and you have a rudder that points you in the right direction. And ultimately, this is what a morning rhythm can be for you. It points you forward in the direction of your intention. And again, that's why so many amazingly successful people have morning routines. Now, you know yourself better than I ever could. So what you should do exactly is something that you have to come up with for yourself. But if you do need some ideas, I suggest you download the resource guide and toolkit, which is linked at the bottom of this video, to get some really good ideas. But a couple of suggestions: meditation or contemplation or prayer or journaling or movement, exercise, sex, a good breakfast, breath work, anything that helps your body and mind start to work together and work for you instead of against you. So let's talk about step 1. And with each step, I'll present to you one of those first principle concepts. So first, you need to decide what it is that you're going to do. And ideally, the thing that you choose to do in your morning rhythm should be something that's aligned to some type of long-term goal that you have. So let's say you want to run a marathon. Well, exercising or going for a run would probably be something you'd want to put in there. If you want to be more optimistic and more calm, meditation might be the thing. Do you want to get a new and better job? Then maybe adding some specific learning skills is something that you want to focus on. Now, there's two ways of going about this depending on what your current situation is and if you have a morning routine that you're already dedicated to. So let's take a look at my current morning rhythm, and with it, I'll show you a formula that if you follow will guarantee your success. So here's the first principal concept. It's KISS, K-I-S-S, and this stands for Keep It Stupid Simple. And you may have heard about this concept. It originated with the US Navy in the 1960s, and the idea was that the simpler you can make a complex system, the better it will perform. It makes it, in a sense, more anti-fragile. So let's take meditation as an example. I've been meditating since my first retreat that I went to when I was 21 years old. It was in Thailand and it was 30 days. I know, I'm a little bit insane like that. But for years later, even though I knew how to meditate, I went through long periods of my life where my practice completely fell by the wayside. And when I decided that I wanted to get consistent again, I made the same mistake that almost everyone else makes. And that is that I bit off way more than I could chew. And initially, my goal was to meditate for 30 minutes a day. And as you can guess, it only took one day where I was late to work and I just didn't have enough time to do my 30 minutes. So I shortened it to 20 minutes, and the same thing happened when I was under pressure and under stress. And it wasn't until I narrowed my meditation practice down to 3 breaths on the cushion, no matter what, and that became my non-negotiable, that I was able to get back in to my consistent practice. Now, that may seem counterintuitive, but the thing about sitting down on your cushion for 3 breaths is that once I was there, I would often meditate for 10, 20, 30 minutes, or sometimes even more. And the key is that I built the habit first, and the results are of secondary importance. Now, in the long run, your habit will become very important to you, but in the short run, you really want to focus on building those neurological connections of the exact habit that you want to create. As an example, today, my non-negotiable minimum meditation every day is 11 minutes, and I do that no matter what. And since the habit is built, I rarely meditate for that short amount of time. Usually what I do is 20 to 30 minutes. And if for some reason I miss a day for, whatever reason, a meteorite crashed into the world, I know I can always go back to my 11 minutes. Let's say you want to start exercising. Don't promise yourself that you're going to go on a 5-mile run every morning. Instead, your non-negotiable should be something like, I will put on my running shoes and my running gear. And that should be your win. If you manage to get outside for a run, well, that's just an extra bonus. Because first, you want to make sure, again, that you establish that habit. And the habit of putting on your running shoes and putting on your clothes is the first step in any exercise habit. Say you want to write a book. What should you do? Start with writing 1 sentence per day, not 1,000 words a day. Do you want to feel happy? Start with waking up in the morning and saying, today is going to be a great day. The point is you want to break whatever you're doing into something that you can do in less than a minute, because if you wake up late and you have to be on your Zoom call in 5 minutes, well, sitting on your meditation cushion for 3 breaths is still something you can do even under stress. Step 2 is what we call stacking or linking. And stacking is the idea that whatever you're adding to your routine should be stacked on top of something that you're already doing. For instance, with me, after I drink my water, I sit down to meditate. If you want to start a writing habit, it might be something like, after I pour my coffee, I go over to the table and I write one sentence. If you want to start exercising, it might be, after I brush my teeth, I put on my workout clothes. So by anchoring what you want to do on top of something that you're already doing, it will virtually guarantee that you will do the thing that you want to do. And this is the first step in programming your new habit into the subconscious mind. It can also be a huge help if you say the thing in your head. So for instance, the self-talk for my meditation is, as I'm drinking my water, I think to myself, after I drink my water, I sit down to meditate. After I sit down to meditate, I do my breath work. If you're working out, after I brush my teeth, I'm going to put on my workout clothes. And this is something you actually say to yourself in your mind. It becomes like a script, and then you simply follow the script. Step number 3 is to remove roadblocks. Now imagine for a moment that you promised yourself you're gonna get outside and work out every day. And you've told yourself you're gonna put on your workout clothes, and that is the first step. But after you wake up and put on your bathrobe and brush your teeth and grab your coffee, pretty soon you're on your phone scrolling through Instagram or TikTok, and before you know it, you've gotta start work and get on your computer. Now, to short circuit this failure route, what you need to do is you need to remove roadblocks by placing your workout gear right next to your bed, so it's the first thing you put on. If you want to meditate, make sure that you've already prepared your meditation space the night before so that when you go to find it, it's already there and you don't have to look for your meditation cushion or your blanket or whatever else that you might need. If you want to start a writing habit, make sure your journal or your computer is already on the kitchen table so that when you take your coffee over there, it's literally staring you right back in the face. And the reason that we want to do this, again, is because with any habit, it's very easy to get sidetracked because remember, habits, when they get programmed, are not conscious. And so you're essentially traveling a well-worn groove, and if that well-worn groove hasn't been established by repetition after repetition, it's super easy to get sidetracked and your habit goes right out the window. Step 4 is to enroll an activity or accountability partner. Now, there's a bunch of different research on this, and basically it shows that you're 40 to 95% more likely to establish a habit if you do it with another person. And this is because at the base of it, as humans, we're social creatures and we're super responsive to the behavior of other people. Say you're sitting around at dinner and everyone else around you has a glass of wine, you are far more likely to have a glass of wine than if you were sitting alone. We are creatures of our own behaviors and norms. So to make the norms work for you, you can use social pressure to help you do what it is that you want to do. And this is where you have to look out for the American cultural mindset of pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps, because it can really get in the way. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen myself and other people try to go it alone. And while going it alone can work, the chances of you succeeding, like I cited before, are much, much higher if you do it with somebody else. So ask yourself this question: would it be easier to do my new habit if I had someone else to do it with? And if the answer is yes, then ask yourself, who in my life do I know who might be willing to do this? And the reason why I'm hammering on this so much is that research has shown that the only difference between people who exhibit high levels of willpower and those who exhibit lower levels of willpower is that people in the high willpower category use what we call easy strategies, and getting an accountability partner is one of those easy strategies. Other examples of easy strategies are things like if you want to stop eating sugar, don't keep any sugary snacks or desserts in your house. Again, we go back to the workout example. Make sure to have your workout clothes right by your bed so you don't have to go sorting through your laundry looking for your workout clothes. The meditation example, make sure you have everything set up beforehand. These are easy strategies that will help you to maintain and program your habit into your subconscious mind. So make things easy, get an accountability partner. And now for step 5, which is celebrate no matter what. Now, most people have been shown a way to use their brains, and it's really all wrong. I mean, most of us are really hard on ourselves, including myself. I can be super self-critical. And while it may seem natural, the problem with that perspective is that it will keep you from creating the habit that you want. So when you start a new habit, it's super important not just to celebrate when you succeed, but also to celebrate when you fail. And I know that sounds weird, but here's what this looks like. Let's say you go and you write your one sentence in the morning. What you want to do is you want to create a way to celebrate it and again, program it into your brain. And one of the best ways to do this is to raise your arms up in the air like you just won the 100-meter dash in the Olympics. Now, that particular stance has been shown to increase your feel-good neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, anandamide. And what this does is it helps to myelinate the neurological pathways in your brain and essentially builds you a new brain. Now let's say the next day you forget to write your one sentence. Maybe you didn't put your journal on the kitchen table the night before, and before you know it, you're on to something else, you're engaged in your workday, and boom, you've forgotten. The key though is as soon as you realize you forgot to write your one sentence, you need to do the exact same thing. Throw your arms up in the air. Yes, I just realized I forgot to do my habit. Now I bet you're thinking, Jonah, that sounds like the stupidest idea I've ever heard, but bear with me for just a moment. When we beat ourselves up for making a mistake, what it does is it causes the mind to turn away from the painful thought. And as humans, we like to turn towards pleasure and away from pain. And instead, when we're building habits, what we want to do is we want to turn towards the habit, whether it's painful or not, because again, we want to ingrain it. And we ingrain it by celebrating when we fail, and we start to turn towards paying attention to those moments where we are doing our intended behavior. So those 5 steps are the habit building formula that if you follow, you can build any habit. Now let's review the 5 steps again. First step is to decide and kiss. Keep it stupid simple. Remember, make it so that you can do your habit in less than 1 minute. Step 2 is to stack or link whatever your new habit is with a previous thing that you're already doing. So after I brush my teeth, I go drink my water. After I go drink my water, I sit down and meditate. Step 3 is to remove roadblocks and obstacles and keep your strategies simple. So essentially you want to prepare whatever your habit is before you have to do it. Step 4 is to do it with an accountability partner, a friend, somebody who's going to help you maintain the behavior that you want to do. And step 5, celebrate no matter what. Program it neurologically, myelinate those neurons, make sure that you are changing your brain for the better. Now again, if you want a hard copy of everything I've talked about in this video, there's links to downloadable resources at the bottom of this video. You can also go to my website, jonahlarkin.com. There's a ton of free resources on there, downloadable guides and worksheets to help you master any habit. And finally, please subscribe to my channel and click that bell button so you're notified of any new videos. And it helps to get our videos out to more people.